On June 30th, 1908, something hit Siberia with the force of 1,000 Hiroshima bombs, and we still don't know what it was. 80 million trees flattened in seconds, an area the size of London reduced to charred stumps pointing outward from a single epicenter. No crater, no confirmed wreckage, no witnesses within 100 kilometers. For over a century, the Tunguska Event has remained one of Earth's most perplexing catastrophes, and the official explanation may not be the whole story. The explosion occurred roughly 80 kilometers northwest of the trading post of Vanavara in remote central Siberia. The blast radius covered approximately 150 square kilometers. Local indigenous Evenki people reported seeing a massive fireball streak across the sky, followed by a concussive force that knocked reindeer herds to the ground miles away. But here's what most people get wrong. No scientific expedition reached the impact site until 1927. That's nearly 2 decades of silence. In that gap, rumors multiplied. Soviet authorities released minimal information. Western researchers had to piece together accounts from Evenki herders and fragmentary reports. The delay itself became suspicious. When the first serious expedition finally arrived, led by mineralogist Leonid Kulik, the scale of devastation was undeniable. But Kulik found no meteorite, no iron-nickel fragments, nothing to physically confirm what had struck. This absence of material evidence opened a door, and conspiracy theorists have been walking through it ever since. The mainstream scientific consensus settled on a comet. A stony or icy object, traveling at hypersonic speed, would vaporize upon atmospheric entry. No crater required, no meteorite fragments necessary. The object simply disintegrated in a massive airburst, releasing kinetic energy equivalent to 10 to 15 megatons of TNT. But asteroids present a different problem. A small asteroid, perhaps 60 meters across, would also produce an airburst. The distinction matters because asteroids are rocky, denser, more common in Earth's neighborhood. Comets are icy visitors from the outer solar system. Both can explode. Both leave minimal physical evidence. The question becomes, which one did Siberia get? Modern analysis of tree ring damage and atmospheric dust suggests the object was likely a stony asteroid, not a comet. The energy signature, the lack of sulfuric acid markers typical of cometary impacts, the composition of particles recovered from peat cores all point toward rocky material. But likely is not certain, and that ambiguity is where doubt thrives. Then there's the fringe claim, a Tesla weapon test gone wrong. Nikola Tesla was experimenting with wireless energy transmission around 1908. Some conspiracy theorists argue he accidentally detonated a remote device over Siberia. There's no credible evidence for this. Tesla's experiments never achieved the power required. It's a myth dressed in pseudoscience. But the Tesla myth reveals something real. The Tunguska Event occurred during an era of rapid technological change and geopolitical secrecy. The Russian Empire was weakening. Siberia was a frontier. Governments kept things classified. That opacity bred speculation, then legend. Another persistent theory, an extraterrestrial spacecraft crash. The no-crater argument gets weaponized here. If aliens arrived with advanced shielding, they could survive entry and detonate in midair to minimize impact. Again, there's no evidence. No alloys inconsistent with Earth materials. No technology recovered. The absence of evidence becomes, for believers, evidence of a cover-up. What we actually know is this. Between 10 and 15 megatons of energy were released roughly 5 to 10 kilometers above the ground. The explosion was instantaneous. The blast wave preceded any seismic shockwave. The object was traveling at roughly 12 kilometers per second. These are measurable, reproducible facts. What we don't know, and this is crucial, is the object's exact composition. Was it carbonaceous, silicate-rich, icy? The 1927 expedition and subsequent investigations couldn't definitively answer this. Modern meteorite analysis and atmospheric modeling have narrowed the possibilities, but absolute proof remains elusive. This uncertainty is uncomfortable for conspiracy theorists and skeptics alike. Uncertainty doesn't sell narratives. It demands humility. So the Tunguska Event persists in our collective imagination, not because we've proven it was alien or weaponized, but because we can't fully prove it wasn't something unexpected. The Soviet Union eventually declassified some Tunguska research in the 1990s. No evidence of a cover-up emerged. No hidden documents revealed weapons tests or extraterrestrial contact. What surfaced was what scientists had already concluded: a natural cosmic impact, most likely an asteroid, with an airburst detonation. But absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. If governments had covered something up, the 1990s release wouldn't necessarily include proof. That's the logical trap, unfalsifiable. Once you assume a cover-up, any official explanation becomes suspect. Any lack of evidence becomes confirmation. Here's what separates fact from fiction: evidence. We have eyewitness accounts, treefall patterns, atmospheric composition data, and modern impact modeling. All of it points toward a comet or asteroid. We don't have recovered alien technology, Tesla weapon blueprints, or declassified government admissions of a cover-up. The Tunguska event remains genuinely unsolved in one specific sense. We can't pinpoint the exact object that caused it. We know what happened. We don't know precisely what did it. That's not a conspiracy. That's science acknowledging the limits of evidence from a century-old event. The real lesson isn't that governments are hiding the truth. It's that cosmic impacts are real, they are rare but inevitable, and they can occur with minimal warning. In 1908, the world got lucky. The explosion happened over uninhabited wilderness. If Tunguska had struck a city, we wouldn't be debating what it was, we'd be reckoning with the catastrophe it caused. Subscribe for weekly deep dives into history's strangest events, where we separate documented fact from persistent myth.